Hey, Freddie.
Hey, Fernando.
And hey, guys, welcome to an episode of the Fernando and Freddie
Fernando and
Show
Freddy show
live with a Reddit on
live.
Reddit. All right, so today we're going to be talking about should tap water be free at a bar or a restaurant? When you go to a bar or a restaurant and you order a cup of water, should it be free?
Okay, let me read this thing. Where is it? Okay, so this one is about Europe. Okay, on a thread about having to pay for water at restaurants in Europe. No law against it in Sweden. You can charge whatever you want for tap water. Most don't charge though. And one of their replies is that Europeans like to make a random stuff about America so they feel better about themselves too. So someone says, but most people around the world think it's okay to make fun of. Oh, sorry. That was going off on another tangent. But charging for water in Europe, but in the UK, no restaurants or bar would charge for tap water, but do some places do. And then another one person says in Denmark, every place with running water is required by law to offer tap water to drink to whoever demands it. So they're not allowed to charge for it there.
I think that's fair too.
Well, it seems like it's different all around the world. This one says in Australia, it's illegal to not offer free tap water to customers, including nightclubs.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Maybe it's like a health and safety type thing too. But I mean, I guess it's one thing, like if you're a paying customer, like if you're buying drinks, you're buying food, like, okay, here's a cup of water for free. But like if you just go up and you haven't bought anything and you're just kind of like trying to get water, I mean, I guess that's a different story. But I totally see where if you're buying stuff, like,
But this one says that in the Netherlands, apparently they charge for water unless you are persistent with them, so they charge you for any type of water there. And it's even worse in nightclubs. The person read.
Really? I
Right.
wonder how much they
Yeah.
charge you.
Yeah, that's the thing. But I mean, like I've been charged for water, and oh look, this one blew my mind that I would have to pay $10 for water in a club in the U.S.
Was it a cup of
ten
water or was it a
dollars.
bottle?
Uh, it doesn't say the person didn't buy it. He just said I went and drank from the sink for free.
Hey,
I never
you
actually
know
thought
what?
about that.
I never thought about that either. Like you have a cup, like I'm sure they'll give you a cup or you have your drink that you just finished. I never ever thought about that. And it's the same water that they would have poured you from the bar because there's not a filter on that.
Yeah, but at the same time, you're thinking to yourself,
The
I
people
don't
in the
know. Do you
bathroom are
really want
watching
to drink
you.
water from a club toilet? Yeah. Well, even then, I mean, I guess you could. I mean, it wouldn't really. I don't know. I just the idea of it kind of grosses me out to think of drinking because you know how dirty clubs are. They usually have no soap.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I usually have been fine with getting soap, but I don't know. I guess I never ever really thought about drinking sink water at a bar or a club. Like never once crossed my mind. Like, but at the same time, like I've never had a problem getting
Hmm.
water, I guess, if I'm thirsty, you know?
Mm,
So
I don't
here's
know.
what
I don't think they should charge though.
no, I agree. I don't think that they should be charging at all either, especially if you've been there drinking. Like, hello, I just spent how much money on drinks? So give me a cup of water. How hard is that? Or like
Yeah,
if you order a cup of
but
water
but
and they like give you like the tiny little cup.
yeah, but the argument is that they still have to pay for the water.
Yeah, but how much are they really paying for that water? And they just made profit off of you by buying those drinks.
Well, I think it's one of those things. It's like giving napkins for free because you paid for a meal. So I guess it should be included in the overall operating cost. But at the
Yeah.
same time, there's some people who are really a lot of environmentalists who might be like, water is precious. We need to charge for it because it is a precious thing. I mean, especially in a place. Imagine if you were somewhere in a desert country that doesn't have a lot of groundwater. So I would imagine that then yes, they would charge there maybe.
Let me just say this real quick, right off of the bat. If I was in another country where they maybe didn't have a lot of groundwater, I'm gonna buy a bottle of water. I'm not gonna drink water from the tap, and we've already talked about this. But so let's just circle back real quick.
Hold on.
So
I know, but I was just going to tell you, you can drink the water in Mexico City. I looked
we'll
it up.
Google that later. We'll Google it later. Listen,
I did. You can tapwater.com.
imagine going up to the bar and being like, "Oh, can I have a cup of water, please?" "Oh, it'll be $4." "No, thank you." Go to the bathroom and just like flush the toilet a few times, leave the water running in there.
Oh, I'm sure.
No, to be like, yeah, here you go. You charged me for that cup of water. Now I'm gonna go and I'm gonna rack up your water bill.
Oh, okay. I thought you meant like you were drinking water from the toilet.
Oh my gosh, I'm not an animal. I'm not a dog.
Fernando, no.
So Freddie, so here's a thread that I found on Reddit. So I'm curious if you're at a bar late night. Oh, this is "May I have water, please?" and it's referring to bartenders. So they're ask a bartender. I'm curious if you're at a bar late night and you ask the bartender for water, do you get mad? I can see how you would, since you're more than likely not going to get a tip off of free water. Or do you respect the person for being responsible for not wanting a hangover and for trying not to get too drunk? Thanks for your reply. Somebody says on here, all my guests get a water regardless if they ask. I believe water is the most important thing I can serve you. Only irresponsible bartenders will get mad at this. Part of our job is to make sure everyone is safe before they leave the bar. Water is an essential tool for this. Which, I mean, is totally true. Where'd you go? Which is totally true. Like, I really like that. Like, you know, being at a bar, like I've had bartenders who would just like pour me a cup of water, or, you know, or like, "Oh, hey, do you want some water?" Like, and I kind of feel like then it's like a nice little thing. You've had what?
Yeah, but I've had bartenders actually give me attitude for asking for water because
they're all
but that's the type of bartender where even if you do order a drink, you don't tip them, because that kind of attitude is just I hate that type of attitude. You know what I mean? Because he's already assuming like you're not going to tip him, or you're being cheap or whatever, and it's like I want to say it's that individualism that someone thinks that, you know, you don't know where they're coming from. You know what I mean? They're automatically assuming that you're just not going to do something when that's not even the case.
But I do understand, like, sometimes bars are really busy, right? Like, you know, there's like local bars near me, and the local little bar, like if I ask for a cup of water, like they're going to give me a big cup. And you know, the speed gun, like when they're filling up that cup, it literally takes like 30 seconds, like to fill up my cup of water. And I totally get, like, yeah, they could be serving other people in the meantime, but they're not giving me attitude about it. And instead of giving me that tiny little cup, he's giving me like a decent sized cup. So, I mean, I totally get like where with that little speed gun, it's taking up time, but at the same time, like,
but it takes you nothing. It's not mixing anything. It's not doing it. It's literally pressing a button. Like if you want this is what I like at some places where they have the water dispenser. It's facing towards the
customers.
The customer. So you could they give you the cup and you just go get the water yourself. So it takes out that whole, I'm losing time, I could be making a drink, or you're not going to tip me or whatever. It's just literally like they could just point to it and there might be cups next to it and boom, done. And that makes more sense.
And at the same time too, like, how are you as a tipper? Like if you go to a bar, just like regular, you know, Friday night out, maybe here in the United States, I don't know how you're going to do it in France.
Yeah, I was going to say, if you're in Europe, they don't tip.
And
they literally like leave $1 or a coin.
Right. Like so, and you order like one drink. Like, how much tip are you going to leave on that one drink? Like, what's your average like tip?
In the US?
Yeah, in the US.
I always do the $1 a drink.
Yeah, I'm the same way. But at the same time, like if like the bartender's nice and friendly, like if it was that person that I just read who just volunteers you that cup of water, like oh, that person's like really nice, you know, like, and if they're like friendly and they put love into your drink, like maybe that first drink they got $1, but coming on forward, like maybe I'll leave extra, you know?
I've rarely had like a bartender like be nice enough to where you want to tip more, because sometimes they're a bit rude. Like they have I understand they're busy, they have a lot of things to do. You know, they're trying to rush to get everyone their drinks, and everyone, you know, is pretty persistent with their money in their hand. But I've also had it before where I've had bartenders like, you have like a 50 in your hand, you order your drinks, and they just take your change and just throw it in their tip jar, and they go on to the next person.
Be like, hello, hello.
But I've had that happen to me a lot of times, and that's the type of bartender that I hate. And that's the only time where I probably will go back and complain. And
Yeah.
I will go during the daytime. I will point the person out, and I will go. It's ridiculous that I had a 50 in my hand. I ordered 2 drinks, and you just put my money, my change, into your tip jar as if you automatically assumed that you deserved it.
Yeah. Well, I guess like I've been pretty
And
fortunate too
that's
because
literally, I can still remember that story. That happened to me twice.
really,
Yeah.
but like I'll have bartenders where even if it's like the total say comes to like $3, I give them a 5, and they'll bring my $2 back, or whatever the
Yeah,
case
I
is.
like
Like I'll
that.
get my change. Yeah.
But would you do that? Like, if whenever I've been a server in my life, I've never been like, I deserve this. This is mine, because I'm
Yeah.
always thinking that this person may not have extra. There are a lot of servers who are like, no tipping. It's you must tip. I have to have this tip. I must have this certain percentage, because they just feel like they deserve it for what they're doing. But it's like, no, I don't come from that type of mentality. I have the mentality that you're doing a job, and that's your job. So you're being paid for it. And anything above that is because you went above and beyond that,
Yeah.
you
I
know?
do understand though where like servers and bartenders are coming from. Like, yes, they get their, hourly low minimum wage, and
Hey,
yes,
hey,
they're
hey,
relying on these tips,
but you have to remember
but
too. No, but what about all the other people who work minimum wage jobs who don't get tipped?
right. But in the same
I mean, a
people who
McDonald's
work
worker works
as
just as hard as a
right,
bartender.
but a bartender and a server are working with the assumption that they're going to be making the tip, and that is why they're working that job, because they've worked it so
Yeah.
long, and it's common practice. But
Yeah,
at the
it
same
is. But
time, like, you don't just
I
get the tip
understand it
just
though.
because. You get the tip because
Oh,
you're actually doing the
mm,
job, and you're doing a good job at it. Like, if you're my
I
server and
would
you just come up and you're rude to me, you take forever to bring me a refill, like, you're not going to get a full tip. No, I'm
I would
sorry.
say
Like,
most of the people are like that, because you have a lot of judgment when you're a server and a bartender. I've like I said, I've worked in service, and you hear the comments that people make. I've been the like, as a kid, I worked in a lot of restaurants as a host, and the servers will tell you exactly what kind of people they don't want to be served or to serve. But I mean, and it's usually pretty racist, pretty it's bad, usually everything they say. So
yeah.
I've seen it, and so it's a lot of assumptions, and it's funny because it usually ends up not being true, because they'll come back and they'll tell you later, oh, though this person actually gave me a lot more. And because I think the person who's being served can feel that whatever's happening.
Yeah, but at the same time too, like, I've never worked, in food service or as a bartender, or in that matter, any job really that people tipped on. But I do know that, going into a restaurant, and I've seen the different types of servers, and I eat it a lot, like through my life. So I know like different types of servers, and the good servers are always very attentive and very friendly. And you know what? That's the person that I want to give my money to. Someone who's going
Yeah.
to give me a cup of water, who's going to give me a straw, like, and smiling and being happy about it.
Yeah. Well, we all want to tip for good service. But
Right,
when you
right,
get
right,
like
right.
kind of like that animosity, or that kind of that, yeah, I don't know, just that offness, it makes you feel like you don't want to be there. It makes you feel like, oh, you know, but I prefer, I like the places, well, I prefer the places where that just add the tip into the total for you, because then it just,
Mm-mm. Nope.
why?
Because then it's automatic. It goes in like, oh, well, they just add the tip into the total for you. Well, that's 18%. And this is why I don't like it. So a couple of months ago, we were in San Francisco, and there was, I think, like 8 of us. We were at this little brewery restaurant getting some food, and it was terrible, terrible, terrible service. And we were like waiting for something. I think we're waiting for something else to get brought over. We wanted the bill. There was a couple of us who wanted to split it. We just wanted to get out of there. We were all tired. Bart, the waiter, took forever to come back over to us. And we could see him across the room. He was just like chatting it up with like some people. And so finally my friend was like, excuse me, and like waved him over, and he comes over, and you gave us the bill, whatever. And we split it up, and you paying. And she's like, she just like lowballed that tip. She was like, he was so rude. He, just expect that he was going to get this big old tip from us because we were ordering the stuff, but he didn't bring us refills. He took forever to bring the food. He didn't bring the condiments that she had asked for. Like, it was just like an expectation. And that's why, a lot of times you go to a restaurant, it says automatically
Yeah.
tip will be included for parties of 8 or more. But then that server knows that they're getting that tip, and their
Yeah.
service
Actually, you're right, because
dramatically, like,
this reminds me of a story when I went to Italy a few years ago, and we were 3 people. We each ordered a pizza.
ooh, that sounds tasty.
Yeah, and the server added a 20 euro gratuity to the bill. And I mean, it
Oh,
was really, really, really bad service. Like really bad. He was rude. I mean, like just like really bad. And I mean, we paid it, of course, but it was, I mean, that actually, yeah, when I think about it, you're right. In that case, I should have said something, but we didn't. We were just like, let's just go. It was the same thing. You're tired, you want to go. And then they just decided, no, they didn't want to.
yeah. But that's the thing too. Like in Colombia, they automatically like add the tip in, but you have to like approve it. Like they'll have it on there, and I don't know if it's like the suggested or how exactly it worked, but it kind of like it shows up in the bill. I mean, I guess if you don't want to pay that, you tell them you don't want to pay that amount. But it's so low. It's like such a low amount that it's like less than what I wanted to tip to begin with. So it was like, because I would use my card for everything, and I don't get foreign transaction fees, and that way I just right off I know what I'm spending, and it shows me like the conversions. But so I would definitely like leave more like Colombian pesos as like a tip.
Yeah.
But it was kind of nice like knowing like, oh, okay, well I'm being really thankful to them, and they were so appreciative of it. I mean, it was pennies
But
to me, but
it's so
to them,
interesting here, though. I've tried to tip people, and they'll be like, "What? Like you're so American? Like, no, we don't tip here." Like I've been some
like
places where
being
they're like,
rude.
"No, like." Well, they kind of do, because they're like, "Well, no, it's that's why we charge what we charge, so you don't have to tip us, and we already
Oh,
get
okay.
paid." So it's kind of nice to have that kind of like, and comparatively speaking, it's a lot less that they earn here than they do at home. Like I would say most of the bartenders that I worked with before, they're making about 400 a night, and the servers might be making about between 2 and 300 a night.
So when you go to a bar like in France, like if and you order a drink, you don't tip the bartender? That's like not
You
common practice
can,
there?
you can, but no, it's not common. Not a
Huh,
lot of people do
interesting.
it. And if they do tip, it'll be like 1 euro.
Okay.
Like really, like they don't. And I'm talking. I know there's gonna be someone like, oh, they tip here. Da, da, da. No, like even in some of the most expensive places I've been, that people don't tip. Some places they do. Some places they have an insane amount of tips, but
Hmm.
not but insane for Europe, but not anywhere close to what it would be in the US.
Wow.
Yeah. Like in the US, everyone's like, and it keeps creeping up. It's like 18, it's 20%, then it's 22%, which is kind of insane though, when you think about it. Like,
Yeah, it can
because you're
add up.
paying,
That's a lot.
yeah, because you're paying tax, and then you're paying a minimum percentage. And then there's those people like, well, if you can't afford it, don't eat out. And it's like,
Right. I've heard that too.
yeah. And it's kind of funny because if people didn't eat out, you wouldn't have a job.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah. It's a really interesting topic, like because it's tipping culture is not something that happens outside of the US, really.
Hmm. I don't know.
Yeah,
But I guess
because
I've grown up here. I haven't done a ton of, world travel. So I mean, I can't
yeah,
really say
but
how it
it's
all works.
interesting. People will chase you down to give you your money back. They're like, "Why did you
Oh,
leave
if
this
you
on the
tip?
table?" Yeah,
Oh,
yeah, because they figure you forgot it.
that's cute though. Be like, no, no, that's for you.
Yeah, and they're just kind of like it's weird because it doesn't happen, So it's just like, oh,
Yeah.
you know,
But you know what? If you can do it, do it. And I'm sure that makes them
yeah.
happier too.
But
But
I think it should be more on service, not just a percentage.
definitely agree with that too. Like,
Yeah.
that's what I was saying too. Like the whole, if you're going to get that cup of water, if they're going to, put love into your drink, if they're going to be nice and friendly to you, then yeah, you're going to
Why
get
do you
more
keep
than
saying
just that.
love? What is
I
this
feel
love?
it's different. Like if somebody just like drops your drink into the cup, or like they actually like put effort into it, and they actually are like making this drink for you, it's different. Like if they actually put the time into it, and I don't know how to explain it. Like it's their passion project. It's not just like, all right, let me just squirt this
Yeah.
speed gun liquid
Like
in
someone
here.
who loves their job. That's a nice thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, but anyways, you guys, give us your water
Opinion.
comment. Give us your
Yeah.
water experiences down in the comments. If you liked our show, go ahead and give us a thumbs up. If you don't, you can give us a thumbs down.
Yeah.
Remember, you can subscribe for new content. We are coming out with our Reddit on Reddit series.
On Reddit.
We are anticipating on launching every Wednesday and Friday with a new Reddit on Reddit. So check back real soon, you guys. Thanks for joining us on today's episode of Reddit on Reddit.
On Reddit.